Hello again, and welcome back to the Bitter BM podcast. I'm your Bitter BM, aka Felicia, and here I speak about all the things that made me bitter, but transformed me and made me into the person I am today. So, surprise, surprise, I'm single. Single mom. I guess that means I'm supposed to be single, right? Well, I am. And I'm here to talk about it, the reasons why I'm single and why I like being single. Like, ain't nothing wrong with that. I find now that society's trying to change women for not wanting to have children and remaining single. But after becoming pregnant as a teenager, having to deal with all the trials and tribulations of the life I've had, I don't have a problem. You don't want to have kids, don't have any. You don't want to have a man, don't have one. So I got into thinking about the fact that I'm single still, and I no longer have a problem with it. I'll tell y'all the backstory of how I got pregnant, or how I got single, not pregnant, child. People wish they could get me pregnant, but listen, I've been on the no kid bandwagon since my youngest was 3 years old. It doesn't matter who I was with, how much I liked them. It was always, let me tell you this, I don't want no kids, and don't come in here thinking that you're going to convince me to have some, because it ain't happening. But back to how I became single. I was with somebody for a very long time. We had our on and off moments, but in my mind, that was my man. Anyways, my man just happened, and I didn't find this out until after, when he admitted it, after everything went down. He had a child with someone else and tried his best to convince me that he didn't get the girl pregnant while we were together. And I said okay, and from I heard that part, the whole I had a baby and I still want to be with you part, I was like, nah, you going too far. Like, you've done enough and not enough at the same time, and now you want me to accept the fact that you had a baby and you still think that we're gonna be together. I said hell nah. And that standard was created from the fact that my youngest daughter actually has two siblings that I know of that were born the same summer as herself. Okay, so having experienced that with my children's father, I said, why am I going to allow you to do this mess? So I said, nah. We tried to see if things would work out eventually. I tried that for like about a year, but in my subconscious, I know I would be going against my own values and beliefs. So I decided to just end everything completely, and to the point where I just had to block him to let him know I was serious. Like, there is no communicating with me and us being friends. Like, that is a very big form of disrespect. He has done some other disrespectful shit that I'm not gonna get into, but listen, that was the ultimate disrespect. And the funny thing about that is, he shared with me, and this was like years before this whole situation went down, that his favorite movie was Fences. And that his favorite part of the movie was the fact that Viola Davis's character took care of Denzel's character's outside baby that he had with another woman. I thought it was interesting, but then deep down I knew I was never going to do that. That's not my thing. That's not my thing. You're not going to cheat on me, have an outside baby, and get me to pay stepmother. I don't care how good you are to my own kids, and y'all could call me selfish if you want. This is just one standard I have for myself. I'm not doing it. I'm not playing stepmother to a child that you had with somebody else while you and I were together. And God bless the wives and fiancés and girlfriends that have the heart to do that. I would never ill-treat someone else's kid. I would just never do that. But I don't want to be reminded of the fact that you had a relationship with somebody else and this was the result. Oh. Judge me if you want. It's okay. So we tried, as I was saying, and I just put an end to it, and I've been single ever since. I haven't gotten into any serious relationships. I tried talking to people, but eventually I just got tired of them because I saw how they were like disrupting my peace, or I could see how things weren't going to work out, and I don't like to waste my time. And what my therapist is now saying is that I need to open up and actually give people a chance. And I said to myself, maybe I do. But then I told her that I've created such a peaceful life for myself. Like, my life is peaceful. I make my money. I cook my dinner. I take care of my children. I go out with my friend. And I don't want nobody to come in and disrupt my peace. I'm to the point where I enjoy the peace I have in my life so much that when people from the past approach me and try to like rekindle relationships, I'm just like, no, thank you. And I have no qualms about it. Like, I get text messages on WhatsApp because on WhatsApp people can see your picture. And I made it that way because I want everyone to know I'm alive and well. I ain't dead. But don't try to rekindle no sort of friendship with me, male and females. If our relationship didn't make it to the beginning of 2025 and we are at the end now of 2025, if our relationship didn't make it there, then I think it's quite safe to say that I'm okay without you being in my life and vice versa. And I don't feel hurt about it at all. My therapist says that I need to work on being more vulnerable with people, and that me being distrusting of everyone is preventing me from, allowing good people into my life. A lot of the men that try to talk to me, they always say this line: yeah, I know you've experienced so much hurt in the past, but you have to give people a chance. Like 4 out of 10 guys that try to talk to me or like repeatedly try to convince me to go on a date with them, and I'm like, no, they'll always bring that up. Like, yeah, you've been hurt in the past. I'm like, that's okay. That's okay. I've been hurt in the past and I'm working my way through it, but I don't want to date you at this time. I've been single for 7 years, and initially when I became single, I was like, I'm gonna be single for 5 years. I'm gonna work on myself. I'm gonna try to be more loving towards myself. I'm gonna just come out being the most amazing person at the end of the 5 years. The 5 years actually ended 2 years ago, 2023. And 2023 wasn't really a good year for me, if I'm gonna be honest. Like, I actually got passed up for a promotion at work that sent me spiraling, and I ended up quitting that job because I was like, F y'all tried to play in my face, and I didn't like that. And I did go on to actually another career that actually earned me more money, because that was the problem. That's why I was even going after the promotion to begin with. Earned me more money, and here I am again trying to go into another field to earn more money. Earning a living makes me more happy than being in a relationship with a man that is not treating me right, because I earn more. I can treat myself to whatever the man would be expected to treat me to. So I could take myself out, I could buy myself gifts, I could go on vacation and travel wherever I want. There really isn't anything that not having a man is preventing me from having, except affection. I mean, somebody to help me around the house, just someone to be there, the companionship of it all. And what I'm finding is that companionship, you can find companionship with anyone, really. In being single, I would consider myself celibate. It's like a forced celibacy. It wasn't like an oath that I took where I said, oh, I'm gonna be celibate now. I was actually talking to somebody and they actually crossed the boundary. Like, initially when I met them, I said, don't ever waste my time. And they actually did that one day where we made plans to go out and they canceled last minute. I was literally putting on my clothes to get ready to leave out when they said to leave out, and they called and canceled last minute. And I just texted them back and I said, hey, I told you to never waste my time. Mind you, this could have been a family emergency, but he didn't put it that way. He was just like, hey babe, I gotta cancel. No explanation, no nothing. So I just reached out back to him and I said, hey, I told you never to waste my time, and now you're blocked. Take care. And that was the end of that. And after that, ain't nothing been happening. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't miss sex, because once you've had it, there really isn't anything new under the sun. You know what the feeling's like. And everybody don't be performing good anyways. So I mean, I'm not really missing out. I'd rather just be not having it than to go out and give it to somebody who is terrible at it, if that makes any sense. Yeah. believe it or not, I was not raised to think that I'm supposed to get married. Marriage wasn't really something that was ever talked about. And I think in my family, only from my grandmother's children, I have one aunt that is married, has been married for 20 years. My mom is supposedly married, but I don't count that because I don't know nothing about that. And I have an uncle that got married. On my grandfather's side, I have an aunt that got married. That's 4 out of like 13 kids in total between them. Marriage was never brought up. So for me, it's not that marriage isn't sacred or important. I wasn't taught to value that. What I was taught, though, or what I have learned to value, is the sacredness of any union. So be it marriage, a long-term relationship, if you consider yourself boyfriend or girlfriend, I consider that sacred. And once you start getting out of pocket and doing all this extra on the side, then it's like I eventually lose interest. And I feel like a lot of people don't value relationships like they used to. Like, everyone wants to have their cake and eat it too. And I just want to have my cake, and I want to have my cake all to myself. I don't like sharing. But a lot of men be wanting to have their cake and eat it too. They want you as the cake, and then they want the ice cream on the side, but they want you in the house. So every time they come in the house, they got a piece of cake to eat. Meanwhile, every time they leave the house, they go to the ice cream parlor. I'm not with that. Enough is enough. Enough with the you double dipping. And if you can't commit, then that's okay. We could just be single. And that's just how I feel. I remember the ex that I broke up with actually telling me once that when he was 40, because I think he is 3 or 4 years older than me. So we broke up like in my early 30s. So, and I think at that time he was also hitting his late 30s. He told me that when he was 40, that's when he was going to marry me. And my response to that was, well, who told you that I'm going to want to marry you at 40? Like, he thought he actually had the power to let me sit and wait until he was ready in order for us to get married. Yes, we spoke about marriage. Yes, we spoke about kids. But in no way, shape, or form was I ever going to produce a child with him if he didn't marry me, because I learned the lesson already being a baby mom, just having a baby for somebody who had commitment issues, who wasn't serious about being a father. I wasn't going to put myself in that situation again. Like, absolutely not. And when he had his daughter, I was happy for him. I was like, well, I guess you found what you were looking for, because you weren't about to get a baby out of me, but you definitely got it from someone else. And hope he's happy with the life he chose. I'm happy with the life I chose. I went into a relationship and I got what I got out of it, but I didn't come out of it with anything extra that would be preventing me from moving forward in my life right now. If I had like a 7-year-old child, like, there is no way I could be pursuing higher education. And how would my older kids feel? Like, would I be transferring responsibility for my youngest onto them? Like, it would have screwed a lot of things up, in my opinion. And so that's why I never wanted to have any younger kids. I wanted my kids to actually grow up and live their lives and not have the responsibility of looking after a younger sibling because I had to be at work or I had to do this. And the truth of it is, my eldest daughter actually told me that she didn't appreciate me telling her that she had to pick up her little sister from school or having to stay home with her until I got home from work. She didn't like that. And I had to respect that. I've always respected my kids' opinion. And I had to respect the fact that they weren't about to play mommy for me in absence of where I had to be or where their stepdad had to be if the situation had come up. Initially, when I was single, like, I did feel like very lonely. I went through this phase where I felt like so alone and I wanted to be around people all the time because that was my life before I actually cut most of the people that were around at that time. Before I cut them off, that was my life. I was always around someone always available to take me to dinner, bring me to the movies, talk to somebody on the phone. But once I decided that these people weren't actually good for me and I let them all go, I experienced a very long stretch of loneliness where I felt sad because I didn't have all those things anymore. And I think in part with me having those people around, like it validated me in some way, and I had to like learn how to validate myself through accomplishing little goals, or like, listen, I am the affirmation queen. I listen to affirmations while I sleep. Sometimes they keep me up because the voices are very annoying and it just disrupts my sleep. But I had to learn how to read affirmations every day for like months, to reset my mind and to rebuild my confidence on my own without having to be validated by people that used to be around me. I'm not lonely anymore. No, I don't have a large amount. I don't have anybody in my life, to be honest, besides my kids and the one girlfriend that I have that I go out with and stuff. I don't have nobody around, and I like it that way. I'm not missing the chaos. I'm not missing the drama. I'm not missing the relationships that have no substance. Like, I value relationships that bring substance and like feed my soul. But until that happens, it is what it is. I will be single for the next little while, but in between that time, you best believe that I'm building myself up into the woman that I've always thought that I should be.